game when stuff in our life starts going around, and the first person we like to blame is God. I know y'all don't want to be honest. But we start saying to God, after all I've lived, you allowed this to happen in my life. I'm living everything I know how to live. If there was anything else, I'd live that too. We give God our resume on our level of holiness. We start playing the blame game. And so he comes as a thief because he wants us to blame God. And you understand we are accusing God falsely. And the devil further understands that according to the word of God, if a thief be caught, he got to repay. So he says, if they don't catch me, I ain't got to give it back to them. So he tries to keep us oblivious to the fact that he is a thief. But the Bible again in John 10 and 10 declares the thief cometh not but for. Yep, y'all understand. Devil don't like you. He wants you to walk in lack. He wants you to walk in scarcity. He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. The devil is after you. That's why we don't have time in this hour, believers. We don't have time to play footsies with the devil. We don't have time to be playing half saved and half unsaved. We don't have time to be slipping and sliding and peeping and dodging. This is an hour, believers, that he that is holy must be holy still. He that is righteous needs to be righteous still. So the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. Read the rest of the text along with what Jesus says.
I am come that they might have life.
Hear what Jesus says. Jesus says, I have appeared, I have come into your life that you might have life. The term life is a term Zoe. He says, I've come that you might have the God kind of life. It has never been God's desire for his people to live beneath what he's declared over your life. So if I'm living beneath what God has declared, it ain't God, it's me. It's because I've resolved in myself, this must be all God has. This must be the best for me. And if I've been saying to us every Sunday, what we've got to really start doing, we've got to start seeking out the word of the Lord and read, and we've got to start studying the pattern of God and seeing, what does God really has for me? What does God really want for me? And again, I want you to hear me, not based on what the preacher says God has for me. The Bible says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. You cannot combat what the devil is trying to do in your life by telling the devil, my pastor said. You've got to combat the devil with what it is written, that you know for yourself, that you've received in your own spirit, that you speak with authority, that you know for yourself that God will do it. So the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says, but I have come that you might have life, and having that life, you might have it more abundantly. Which says to me, and it's going to knock some of your theology, but it's okay. God is not even satisfied with you having abundant life. Look how y'all looking, okay. Because according to the text, he says, more abundantly. So he says, I need you to be at a level that you exceed abundantly. I'm not satisfied with you just walking in abundance. I need you to have more than enough. It is God's desire. Even when he brought Israel out of Egypt to take them into the land of Canaan, he took them to a land that did not flow with milk and honey, but it overflowed. And so God is never satisfied with you just getting in the land of milk and honey. He wants you to get to the land that overflows. Tap your neighbor and say, I'm going to walk in overflow. Yeah, overflow in every area of your life, not just financially. Even in your mental state, you ought to be overflowing. You ought to have creative ideas. There ought to be always something being downloaded to your spirit from God that's going to transition your life and change your circumstances. Because God says, I am never satisfied with you until you have exceeded your potential. God's not, and if I use it from the educational standpoint, in the school system, a C is the average student. God says, I'm not happy with C children. Now, there are some parents that are shocked when a child come home with a C. But God is saying, no, I'm not happy because I recognize you should be at the top of the class. You see, you don't understand. God's not happy with you being a salutatorian in the class. He's not happy unless you're the valedictorian. He's not happy unless you are cut above everybody else. And so it is imperative, again, that we understand, identify this adversary, this enemy. Tell your neighbor, say, identify that devil. What I'm talking about, identify that. Identify what it is that's causing you to walk in lack. Some of us, you identify your spending habits. Y'all quiet now. Because your spending habit is causing you to walk in lack. Not a good steward. Y'all quiet. All honesty, most saints don't need more. You need to learn to handle better what God has given you. Because it makes no sense. Some of y'all love these little cheap stores that you got to buy it 4 and 5 times over again for. You may as well go ahead and buy it at the expensive time. It lasts longer. Or whatever. Okay, let's go. 1 Peter 5:8. Let's go there. So we must identify. We must be aware of the fact that we have an adversary. We have an enemy who does not like us and who is trying to cause us to walk in lack. You've got to be able to identify. No, when I say identify, I'm not talking about you waiting on somebody to call you out and tell you. You know yourself what is transpiring in your life that causes you to walk in lack. That's why as we did the spending fast at the beginning of this year, when we did the spending fast for the first month of this year, there were several saints who I had honestly come to me and said, Pastor, I realize buying lunch every day, that's what's been breaking me. I see some of y'all wasn't on it, so y'all don't realize what was killing your budget, because you still walking in lack. But those folk who took the time to obey the principles start saying, I need to make some changes in my life, because it's not that I don't have, I'm being wasteful. When you go to the lunch truck every day, and a good lunch going to cost you $7 to $10, because you don't want to get your hips up 5 minutes early to fix a lunch. Y'all quiet. And in a month's time, the one of the individuals recognized in a month's time, on lunch alone, they had spent over $200 just in lunch. See, we don't recognize, but you've got to identify what is the problem. It's not God, it's me. Trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to do what everybody else on your road is doing, everybody else in your circle is doing. Just because everybody on your job buy lunch don't mean you need to buy lunch. If you walk in the principle and the favor of God, in all honesty, if you walk in the principle and the favor of God, God will bless you where they'll take care of you. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. I don't pay for lunch no day. And according to their rules, we're supposed to. My cafeteria manager brings me lunch every day. And not because I'm the principal, but the favor of God, because my assistant principal paid for it. The favor of God. And you've got to identify what it is that's requiring you to walk in lack. You read 1 Peter 5 and 8.
Be sober.
Look what it says. You need to be sober. To be sober means be in your right mind. Never, hear me, saints of God, when it comes to your whole life, never make decisions when you're intoxicated. And I'm not talking about naturally drinking. When you are high on life, when you're high on emotions, when you're mad as Hades, don't make decisions. They teach you that when you're going through emotional roller coasters in your life, you don't go shopping. Because you know why?